Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan here on Sunday, the 5th of July, to discuss Major League Baseball and where we're at moving forward, guys. I know last Sunday I had discussed about how Major League Baseball's back, what we can look forward to as far as a few tweaks or even changes in some cases in the rules. And this video is a little bit more of a follow-up to that, and more what we can look forward to as the season gets closer and closer to starting up for the Major League Baseball 2020 season. If you do like the content of this video, please don't forget to go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan if you've yet to have the opportunity or the chance to do so. So let's get right into it, guys. I mean, there's been a lot going on in the news regarding the startup of the baseball season and basketball as well. Here to specifically discuss Major League Baseball in this video. Both sports, by the way, getting ready to start either towards the end, as is the case with baseball, 23rd, 24th of July, or at the end of July in the case of the National Basketball Association. Major League Baseball, guys, I put together 5 points of things that I'm looking forward to as the season gets started. Now, yes, we've had some guys come out and say that they may not play. There's been a few cases of that I've read over this weekend. My thought on the whole thing is a player can do really whatever they want to do. I certainly really have no comment on that other than it is the decision of each and every player regarding their thoughts on playing this season. So I'm looking forward to the season, and I think it's going to happen, by the way. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I am looking forward to it. So let's get right into the points here that I put together for you regarding the upcoming 2020 Major League Baseball season. Number one, I put unproven, and what I mean by that is the teams that are not proven, in my opinion, are going to have an advantage this season. Teams like the Marlins that have been down for a handful of years, teams like even the Tigers, the Orioles, there's a handful of these teams, a couple of handfuls really, of these teams that really just haven't done much of anything in the last 3, 5, 6, 7 or more years. Unproven, basically, I refer to the fact that baseball undoubtedly is a sport, just all sports are sports of emotions, but baseball, we've seen emotion go a long way, and just teams coming together. We've seen that in the past go a long way. Teams come together, they put together a few wins. Next thing you know, they've won 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, 7 out of 10. Something like that happens in this very shortened season. You can definitely be making a run at the playoffs with a 60-game schedule as opposed to 162. Something like 37% of the normal regular season. So unproven / young teams definitely, potentially, we have to see it play out, potentially have an advantage going in. You know, they can get some wins early, hang around. Next thing you know, perhaps 1 or 2 key guys are back, and now we're ready to go for the final month of the season. So that's just something to kind of pay attention to. How are the teams that we've seen down for the last few years and that we are definitely looking to see down for the 2020 season, how are they going to come out of the gate? How are they going to perform in 2020? So we'll leave it at that. Number 2, starting pitching. Guys, let's think about it. It's a 5-man rotations, your average rotation. You're looking only at about 12 starts this season for your starting pitchers each. If everything kind of plays out normally, plays out the way it would play out in a 5-man rotation. So 12 starts is nothing. When they start the season, July 23rd, July 24th, it keeps going back and forth. I have a feeling it's going to be July 23rd, and then with the bulk, pretty much everyone then playing on the 24th. When they start the season, guys, it is the home stretch. You know how a lot of times like the pitchers need to be 100%, or they, you'll hear talk about that for the stretch run. Well, the stretch run this year starts from game one. Game one is the stretch run. So we need to keep that in mind, and starting pitching will be a key factor, especially when you consider everyone's arm should be like completely rested. You would think, right? Any nagging injuries, I don't mean major injuries, but any type of nagging injury you would think would be completely resolved. Okay, so these guys, I mean, especially your top pitchers or just a really good or even a solid starting pitcher may in fact go an extra turn in the rotation this season. So it'll be interesting to see. I would put the average starts, just doing some basic math here, around 12 would be your average start number for a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball 2020. Item 3, middle relief. Middle relief pitching. As I discussed last weekend, we have the new rule change now. The way it works when a relief pitcher comes into a game, let's talk about that real quick. Because I have a part 2 for you, which is today, specifically on this topic, and how we can look forward to this to really play out in 2020. So just to kind of recap the rule the way I understand it, a relief pitcher, upon entering a game, one of two things must happen. That relief pitcher must either face a minimum of 3 batters, or they must finish that inning. So if it's second and third, 2 outs, a guy comes in the 8th inning, and he gets the only batter that he faces to pop up for the 3rd out. Okay, we're done. Okay, that's it. He finished the inning, so that would overset, if you will, the 3 batter minimum. But this has never happened before. We've never seen this before, and what we're used to seeing is a lefty coming in against a tough lefty, a righty coming in against a tough righty, just to get an out, and that's it. And they're done. And then we bring in another pitcher, another relief pitcher. So I specifically put middle relief because that's where we see a lot of that. And then in setup, what they call setup relievers. Closers, it shouldn't really affect them much because they usually just come in to finish up, in normal circumstances, the last inning. They would basically either close a game. Of course, the only time that could, and it potentially could affect the closer, they come in, let's say in the 9th inning, it's 3-2. The team's winning. The relief pitcher's team is winning 3-2. They come in the 9th to close the game out. They get the first guy out. Maybe the next 2 batters reach. Okay, but that would still give them, that would still give the 3 minimum. Or let's say they come in, same score, 3-2, allows a single, then allows a double. Okay, now we got a problem because that closer would have to face a 3rd batter. So there are certain circumstances where this will also affect the closer, but it's really going to affect the middle relief pitchers and how teams, now let's look at the big picture, shortened season. Now this rule of must finish the inning or 3 batter minimum has nothing to do with the situation this year. This is a rule that was supposed to start anyway in 2020. So I'm thinking how teams use this rule is going to be, first of all, obviously key, very important. Second of all, I mean, bullpen depth, I mean, it's going to be as important as ever. I mean, you can't really have a 1-batter specialist anymore. Now, you would assume that pitcher's good enough to at least face 2 other guys or, get through at least 3 batters. But it could weed out a few pitchers, is what I'm saying. A few good, perhaps lefties or even righties coming out of the bullpen. that are used to just get an out or get a tough out this could affect them. I mean, they're going to be asked to do more at the very least. We know that. Okay, so that's a big number there. Number 3, that's a big topic, and we're going to see how all this plays out. Number 4, players and DL. Okay, so the disabled list, as we know, we have the regular 15-day disabled list. We have players, they're going to get hurt. It's just part of the game. They're going to miss time. It's just part of the game. Now with the 60-game schedule, boy, does that really come into play, and boy, is this going to be really key on which teams can stay healthy, which teams can avoid major injury. That's going to play out huge in the 2020 season. Which teams can, in fact, stay healthy and avoid the disabled list. That's going to be very, very, very important. Yes, you're going to have players, as I touched on a moment ago, they're just not going to want to play. I understand. That's really up to the player. Again, we're all in that, in a sense, right? Like, me, for example, or any of us can not go back to work if we feel unsafe or if we don't feel as if it's a good idea to do so. So that's something that we'll just have to see how that plays out. And of course, overall, we want everyone to be safe. We want the games to go well. We want everything to work out in the end, and I certainly hope it does. And I think we all do. So last but not least, outlook. My outlook is this. I think that this season, now it's only about 2.5 weeks at the time of the making of this video. We're only about 2.5 weeks from the start of the 2020 season. So basically, barring some sort of player strike, which I don't think will happen. I mean, I guess anything could happen, but I don't foresee that happening. There will be a 2020 Major League Baseball season. And I really think it's going to go well, or at least somewhat well. I think it's going to be okay, but there will be some bumpy roads. Get ready for some bumps in that road, especially as we get started those first couple of weeks, guys. But there will be a season. Looking forward to it, I'm glad, and I really kind of tip my hat to baseball. I think they've done about as good of a job as you can. The league has as far as just getting this thing going. I mean, they're taking a lot of precautionary measures from what I'm seeing and from what I'm reading. And now the rest of us can just sit back and hope that everything works out and everything goes well. So for now, this is Dennis Sullivan Sports Snippets with Dennis Sullivan. I will see you, yes you, next time. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the 2020 Major League Baseball season getting ready to start very soon, 23rd, 24th July. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.